We are a 24-hour emergency crisis shelter for runaway and homeless teenagers, ages 12 through 17. And we're here for any kid in Niagara County who's in any kind of a crisis situation who needs help.
Nancy Haven is an emergency shelter for young people. It's a regular house. They have 14 beds and young people can stay there for up to 30 days. They receive case management so that the problems that led to their homelessness hopefully get resolved, or create a plan that leads towards longer term resolution of their problems.
We have a host home family program in Oswego County, which is a family that is trained and certified by New York State to provide emergency shelter in their home to a runaway and homeless youth. They have them come in, they provide them with shelter.
The people who are on the van are the people who work with them in the shelter, so that we have that connection of the relationship and we're maintaining what we call integration of services.
If there was an extended family member or some supportive adult in their life that we could connect with and build on their relationship so that this youth could go stay with them and be safe, that's the first direction we'd move in.
If the client, the youth, who's the resident in the house, is not returning to their family of origin or the home that they came from when they entered, then the client's family work is a little different. They might be going to live with another relative, or we might be working with the family to try and figure out what is the next safe plan for this kid.
And we have our youth who has no family support whatsoever. That's when we start towards our transitional programs. And we have a Barnabas house. So you could stay at Booth House for 30 days, and in that 30 days while working with a case manager, you determine, oh, we need a long-term plan. Make a referral to Barnabas House, which is 4 beds for females, 4 male beds. It's more of a kind of a group home type setting.
This building is our transitional living program, and we have 5 2-bedroom apartments. We have 2 kids in each apartment. They have their own bedrooms, and they share the living room, dining room, kitchen area.
Independent living program services older homeless youth, and that is kids 16 to 21. They live here and they receive case management. They work and they go to school, and they set goals with their case manager, and they're working towards the goal of becoming independent.
Transitional programming is sort of the further step on the continuum. Ideally the last step before a young person moves off into their own actual independent living setting where they're living self-sufficiently. Transitional living is for a young person who's maybe been through a shelter, been through a drop-in center, and maybe stabilized a little bit. They're not 100% stable, but they've been able to maybe rectify their immediate needs and be able to have employment, make an educational plan, commit to working on life skills and working within a program setting. Our transitional program lasts for 18 months, so young people are with us, a year and a half, and during that time are learning how to fine-tune their self-sufficiency skills before they're out on their own.
Transitional living is really for those kids that there are no other resources for. There's no family support, there's no supportive adults, and there's so few beds in the community available for those kids that you really have to do a thorough assessment, make sure there's not another viable option.
I think that Anesmus tends to deal with 2 different populations of kids. Sometimes there are the kids that just don't want to be at home, they don't want to follow rules. I think it's our responsibility to educate them about their role within the family, and we consider return home a successful discharge. The other population of kids that we see are pushed out, thrown out kids, which I think that's really a growing population for us lately.
We do a lot of work with parent education, where we're helping that family deal with their parent, teaching them about discipline, teaching them about rules are okay, and young people need rules, and we're...
And the whole goal there is that these kids learn the life skills that they need, finish their education, whether that's GED or high school, or go to a voc training program, so that they can get a job by the end of that 18 months that is going to support them. that keeps them self-sufficient and not on the temporary assistance roles, and you know, being able to afford the rent on a small apartment and pay their utilities and have sufficient food in the house.
Our kids would really be at risk and be in dangerous situations if they didn't have a place to go. We would have situations that would be very lethal to some of our kids that we work with.
You would see a lot more kids on the streets, and a lot more kids, I would say a lot more kids doing things that our community wouldn't want happening.
More youth involved more in the justice system, because a lot of the kids that we get already are coming in pretrial release, probation, PINs, whatever, and I think sometimes we're able to intervene and keep them from like reoffending or repeating.
They would be in the street or incarcerated or maybe dead.
We have so many different services to offer them that to take away all of them would be catastrophic, I think.
It's so easy for our young people to turn to the streets because they say there's no place to go, nobody understands me. Being here, they have that. They have caring adults that understand them. They have caring adults that have walked that life and can give them their personal testimonies as far as what could have happened. And just because, you know, you made bad decisions or things happened in your life, that does not mean that you're a bad person and you can't turn around and you can't be successful in life.
We did have emergency housing at one point, but we had a basic center grant through the federal government, and we actually lost our federal basic center grant, so we had to close our emergency shelter, which definitely affected the young people that were staying with us. We had to close it down and move them into other shelter services, which is really difficult because we have specialized care. We work specifically, as I mentioned, with LGBTQ youth. So the youth that wanted to stay with us and were staying with us then had to go into other programs where maybe they didn't feel quite so comfortable or safe.
Well, I'm not going to claim to you that these kids are safe on the street right now, even with the street outreach program out there. But I think we make a dent in it for them. Without the program, there would be nobody connecting with these kids where they're at. You got to keep in mind with the street, these are kids, they're disenfranchised from the educational system. You're not going to reach them through school. They're not going to place themselves at the office door because they so mistrust adults to begin with. So there would be no adults out there trying to connect with these youth on the street and tell them, you know, there are services for you. There are ways that you can choose to change your life, and we're here to help you with that. I think the rate of homelessness among youth here in Monroe County could be as much as doubled as it is right now.